from North End to Luveve. Why do I always gotta prove? Say it don't sound like the city dog. Yeah. They say it don't sound like the city dog. But if you play it in your Honda Fit, I swear it be the sound of the city dog. I can only give you what's inside of me, and the city surrounding me. Would you be proud of me? I got the courage to go and be what I wanna be. And listen, I don't wanna deal with a jumper mode. I'm trying to buy even a younger road. I like Domazana, do you wanna roll? Domazana, do you wanna roll? I know you hear me on the radio. I got the whole city singing, we young and we don't care. From North End to Luveve. Why do I always gotta prove things? I gotta flex to show him that I'm the best. Now I know he's seeing me as a threat. Shade of Greasy, I represent to the dead. You know it's getting harder to hate, but one song leave the city amazed. I'm now embracing the pain. Some was even terrified of my age until the Lord showed me I could be king, and it's a movie now. The giant kusimu kila pet Wapanyoka toni simu tira meso Asikuti makandanya Matikwane kandang kandini Mambo Andini mo sempono Andini mo sempono Andini mambo Andini mo sempono Andini mo sempono Andini mambo The giant kusimu kila pet Wapanyoka toni simu tira meso Chaku saswa Andini Zima kudini I'm wanting the top spot, feeling like my throne. I'm feeling for job, prison status on my boss. Doing damage in the park, doing damage to the budget. Then you know my city love it, your soul I'ma touch it. And I'm trying to show the youth in the burg how much power they have. Can we elevate the city with rap? Man, I swear the victory it tastes better than a chicken shawarma in all black. I'm saving Wakanda, so Munu resta tenerai. Munu resta tenerai. Motivation if you're trying to get by. Munu resta tenerai. Man, it's feeling like do or die. Getting high, pumping prayers to the sky. Munu resta tenerai. Stop believing the lies, man, the real crown hidden inside, yeah. So some may feel me and some may diss me. Asaph is a K-I-N-G.
I'm doing that's gonna Ukusuta marine Omala mane batting is donna Takara bagona Kanda madon I'm doing that's gonna Kusuta marine Omala mane batting is donna Takara bagona Kanda madon
Abanangani simu tira demo Muno musamburi sina mudemo Panotuba ichambanja Matikwane kandanga Tejaira kusimu kila pet Wapanyoka toni simu tira meso Asikuti makandanya Matikwane kandanga Dini
Mambo Andini mo sempono Andini mo sempono Andini mambo Andini mo sempono Andini mo sempono Andini mambo
Tejaira kusimu kila pet Wapanyoka toni simu tira meso Chaku saswa Dini Zima kudini
Mambo
Yeah, Asaph, Wagwan. Yeah, sure. What's happening? I'm with Gemma. Yeah, can pull up. I'm gonna pull up right now. Get in, my brother.
Let's go.
Good afternoon and welcome. Yes, welcome to the Joe Mars podcast. My name is Joe Mars, and if you're just joining me, yes, welcome. This is the live with Asaph, the rapper, and of course, Ausatwa Nonoka. Ausatwa Nonoka. That's all I can tell you. Listen, I've never been bombarded with music. Never, ever been bombarded with music in Zimbabwe ever in my life, as I have in the past couple of years, let's say 5 years or so. I would say there's just been so much movement in terms of newcomers. There's just been so much movement in terms of the old players and some in-betweens, you know, the ones that we can't really say they are new or not. We really don't know. But the best thing is that the arts have been very, very friendly. And it's almost like free roaming for every artist out there, because with the opening of the airwaves, There's been a huge hunt for talent from all corners of the country, even the all corners of the world. Radio stations have upped their game. They're always looking for the good stuff to present to the masses. Stiff competition there, if you ask me. There is stiff competition on radio stations right now as they hunt for audiences. From national radio stations, well, I think every other radio station is a national radio station these days. It doesn't really matter because of the internet, how they can stream, live stream. That's what I really think. But even to community radio stations, online publications, you name it. Social influencers coming through as well on the game, internet shows, bloggers, podcasters such as this one, all pushing the same envelope, and that is the arts of Zimbabwe. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the next guest, who I think is also causing havoc throughout all of these platforms that I've mentioned to you. This is a young man doing well who has been making waves with his music ever since he stepped into the scene. Do you remember the song Dini Mambo? I just played you the video there. He has headlined the Shoko Festival with Moonchild Sanelli, Unplugged with Shekina. He won the Best Hip Hop 2018 Bulawayo Arts Award and Song of the Year, Best Video and Best Collaboration at the 2018 Hip Hop Awards. Some say there were a couple of awards that he could have deserved, but yeah, we'll get into that a little later. The People's Rapper, real name Tafadzwa Tarukwana, MTV Africa Music Awards Zimbabwe representative for the Listener's Choice Award 2020, 2021, is it, in Ghana? A little bit postponed right now. Kingpin Incarnate, Mfana Ukulumiskiwa, Nevenekula. Mr. Asaph is in the building, and today he joins me from all the way from Bulawayo. What up, man? How you doing?
I'm easy, bro. I'm easy. What's going on?
Hey, good job, Lavo Bulawayo.
Everything is good, my bro. Everything is easy.
I miss the city, and every time when you rap and you rhyme about Bulawayo, I have visions of it. I'm actually when you're talking about 5th Street or you're talking about Pumula, Nuveve,
yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there with you.
Yeah. When was the last time you were here?
When my cousin was getting married, that was, I think, 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
2018, 2019.
That was a good year. That was a good year to be now.
How so? How was it a good year?
Everything was nice, bro. There was no corona. No, we weren't really stressing that. We weren't really stressing that much. When you look back, you're like, yo, we were actually doing a lot. We had a lot of freedom back then. To just do what
exactly.
You know what I mean? Plus, that's the year I released Mambo, so that was pretty a good year for me. Doing all sorts of things, like China, Unplugged, so Shoko Festivals. So it was cool. It was a good year.
I hear you, man. I hear you. It was really, really cool. Dude, I have to do this. Okay, I have to do this as we start off the show, eh? Confession time. Confession time.
Yeah.
I've never done this, and I don't know which other radio DJ, broadcaster, or podcaster has ever done what I'm about to do right now, And I wish to say this before we start. I underestimated you, dog. I really did.
I feel you.
I was caught up in my own thinking that after Kingpin, there was never going to be anybody else as deep as you.
Yeah.
At the time when King was still alive, I mean, he meant a lot to us. I mean, as we were growing up, and I never for a moment thought he was gonna leave, and I thought he was gonna just maintain whatever he was doing at that moment. And I never thought anyone else would bring it as much as he did. And you, on the other hand, man, you are on fire. Your raps are just as clean and relevant as hip hop, in my book, should be.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I'm sorry. I want to say I'm sorry. I want to say I'm really sorry for underestimating you.
I feel you.
There was a conversation I had with a couple of friends of mine, and they were like, they were telling me about up and coming rap and whatever and Zimbabwean hip hop, and I was like, you know what? No. there was a time when we had hip hop. It's no longer there. And then I had the chance, and then I sat down and I was like, okay, let me give them a chance. Let me listen. I listened to you. I listened to a couple of other guys, but then after that, I was like, I'm back. I'm back. You sold me. You sold it to me. I'm really back. So I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that, my man.
No problem. It's allowed. You know what I mean? Because people need to be convinced.
Exactly. You sold it. You sold it to me, and you sold it to me, man. Your album, rappers. Your recent album, like your latest album, People's Rapper. The People's Rapper. That is dope. That is dope.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Now that we've got that out of the way, Newsday said this about you back in 2019. Tracks like Mambo, Jinimbi Rich, and Changamira, which I totally love as well, can be anybody's favorite. They say your sound is reminiscent of the original rap, the Tupac Shakur kind of sound. He makes each rhyme count, weaving his flow with each beat, unlike mambo rappers who sometimes make it difficult to even hear what they would be saying. Those are really kind words. How does that make you feel when you hear words like that about your music?
I mean, it's really encouraging, you know what I mean? To say like people are actually taking time to pay attention to what I'm saying, to pay attention to the lyrics and everything. So I guess it makes me feel good, bro. It encourages me to keep on pushing that envelope, making sure that the level of the artistry is high, the quality of the lyrics, the quality of the production, the beats, to make sure that there are people who are at home listening, paying attention to that. Because for a long time, people felt like Zimbabweans don't really pay attention to hip hop, like in that type of detail. So you can be using punchlines and double entendres and everything, but it'll go over people's heads. You know what I mean? So to have people say something like that means a lot. It shows like there are people who are paying attention, and the fact that it was in the newspaper means okay, that's pretty official.
Man, I felt like that writer was sold too much, man, too much. I mean, he's like a hip hop fan, just like as I am, and I felt like he was really speaking something from his heart. He's not, there are two kind of journalists out there, right? The ones that write for the money, like it's a cool job. You get to have free tickets and you have interviews and stuff like that. And then there are people that really are writing from the heart. This is something that they love, And I felt it. I felt it in his writing that day. Thank you very much again for taking the time, man. Listen, let's have a brief rundown. Let's have a brief rundown of your life, man. Where were you born? Who your mama is and who your daddy is. Let's get that out of the way before we get into other stuff.
I mean, I was born in Bulawayo, Matadeo Hospital. That was like 1992. You know what I mean? I was born to a Zimbabwean man and a Zambian woman. You know what I mean? We're staying, at the time, where were we staying? We're staying in Famona, in Montrose. Okay. Yeah, we're staying in Montrose at that time.
Oh, I stayed in Montrose once.
Oh, serious? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I did. So because I was working so close. I was working at the studios there.
At the studio in Montrose, ZBC?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope, bro. That's really dope.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. I bet you were still a kid then, but anyway.
I'm sure. So yeah, moved around a lot, changed high schools a lot. Even primary schools, changed primary schools a lot, but high school, I was just in one solid high school. That was Petra High School. And my transition from grade 7 at Hillside Primary to Form 1 at Petra High, that was kind of when I really started getting into hip hop, really started getting into like the hip hop culture and maybe the love of making music. Because going from Hillside Primary to a private school, Petra High, I was kind of feeling the pressure to say, yo, when I'm in high school, I need to be cool. I need to stand out. You know what I mean? There's something about me that needs to make me shine. You know what I mean? So this one night, my dad comes home with the WizTech decoder. I had heard of hip hop music before. I had heard like songs on the radio and everything, but that night, I don't know why it really stood out to me in a whole different way. So he comes home, he's got this WizTech decoder, he plugs it in, it's a Friday night, and the first thing that comes on is Coca-Cola Flavor Dome. And the first video that is playing is Snoop Dogg and Pharrell Drop It Like It's Hot, you know what I mean? So I'm watching this video, I'm seeing the images that they're showing, I'm hearing how nice the beat is, the way they're
You were like,
flowing,
what the
the
hell is
lifestyle.
going on here?
Yeah, bro. I was just like, okay. That's what I want. That's what I want, basically. You know what I mean? Going into high school, that's kind of the energy I want to portray, to just be that guy that all the girls want to be around, all the guys are looking up to, just that cool, easy, calm guy. So that's how I got into hip hop. So at first it was just loving the culture, appreciating the culture, to then I would be able to recall people's lyrics, like a Eminem verse or a 50 Cent verse, a Kanye West verse or a Jay-Z verse, right? So when I'm at school with my friends, I'll start to recite those raps, and people would really think they were mine or I was freestyling. Yet I'm rapping an Eminem verse, yet I'm rapping a 50 Cent verse. Till it got to the point where I'm like, you know what? Like, if I can rap these other guys' verses so well, what about if I try and write my own? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I started writing my own lyrics, and then I guess it was 2007. I was now like Form 3. I went to Harare. There's my cousin's sister was dating a guy at the time who also worked at ZBC. So he used to produce the show called Teen Scene. I'm not sure if a lot of people remember that one.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
he there was a studio out there, and there was a couple of artists in it. It's actually quite crazy. There was Roki was there. There was Discord from Afrik, and two other people. I can't remember who they were exactly. So they were just like, I'm fine, and you want to record, whatever. So I got in there. That was my first like track that I ever recorded. I did that, then I guess I fell in love with the whole process of making music and releasing, you know what I mean? Came back to Bulawayo, was sharing that song with my friends. People were like, oh snap, this is cool. This sounds dope.
What was that first track? Do you have it now? Do you perform
Do I
it?
have it? Nah, I don't have it. But I'm sure one of my high school friends have it.
Do
I'm
you
sure
remember it though?
it had no chorus. No, I don't even remember. I just remember maybe like 2 seconds of the lyrics. 2007 was declared my time to shine. I know it won't be easy, but the rap game is mine. Something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
It was too dope.
So it just went on, year after year, getting into studio, recording. There was a time I even had to, I was given money for school shoes. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy school shoes. I'm going to pay some studio time, and I'm going to record some music. You know what I mean? I formed a rap group with this guy that I used to battle with at high school, because at break time we would meet and then do like freestyles and rap battles and everything. Then there was this guy, and he was also as passionate as me. His name was Blaze Masego, aka Blaze. So then we started rapping together, formed a rap group, started releasing music. We started getting a bit of fame in our high school. It started spreading to other schools, like, oh, there are these guys from Petra who rap. Oh, their song is dope. You know what I mean? We make songs like school anthems. There was a song we did called Petra Boys. You know what I mean? To the point where the principal of the headmaster of the school during assemblies even like, there are some boys who made a song called Petra Boys. That song is so good. We like it. Keep on. You know what I mean? So I guess it was all like, you know what I mean? This is a white man at a private school, and he's listening to a hip hop song saying, yeah, guys, this is what we like. We like it. So for me, I guess it was just, it fueled the passion for the music. It fueled that thing to say, okay, lots of people seem to like what I'm doing. So that kind of kept me going. After high school, I went to Swaziland. That was 2011. I did some Bible school there. That's when I started even doing gospel music, like gospel hip hop. I released
What?
Yeah, bro.
What?
I started doing gospel hip hop. Even released two EPs, gospel EPs. The first one was called New Life. The second one was called Sky Music. You know what I mean?
Were you rapping? Were you rapping or what?
Yeah, I was rapping.
Okay.
I was rapping. So
I like to get my hands. I like to get my hands on those two albums.
Okay, I'll email them to you.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
So like around, so that was that year, 2011. After that, I came back to Zim, and I was still doing gospel for maybe like another year, until I realized that I wanted to really compete in the mainstream. You know what I mean? I felt like hip hop or gospel genres were always sidelined. You know what I mean? To say, oh, this is the gospel category. yet you can be much better, or you can be just as skillful as the guys who are winning best male and best what, but they would never nominate a gospel rapper in a best male category or a best album category. You know what I mean? They just reserve that for best gospel. Yet, I mean, if it's that, I mean, there should be a best gospel video, best gospel male, best gospel what. You know what I mean? So
I
I thought,
feel like that is a whole hour or 2 hours conversation right there, in which how
yeah,
in which our categories, or in fact in which our awards are awarded. There's something
yeah,
totally wrong. If you're rapping,
yeah,
never mind what it is that you're rapping about. You're rapping about chimurenga,
yeah,
you're rapping about gospel. You should just be in a
yeah.
category of hip hop or
Of
of
rap,
rap.
exactly. Yo, hip hop,
Not
yeah,
this thing of
exactly.
saying it has to gospel has to sound like, and that's why we struggle,
Yeah,
and that's why they struggle giving, artists, say for example, like Vuyo Brown, who does some cool jazz, but she's singing it in
yeah,
gospel, and then they're like, that's jazz,
yeah.
that's not gospel. What
That's
the
that's
hell
it's
is that?
gospel. You know
You
what I
see?
mean?
Yeah.
So
Mm,
people need to understand that gospel is not a genre. You know what I mean?
it's not,
Gospel
it's
music
not.
is not a genre. It's a subject matter. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of why
I
I
know,
started
man.
to
I
shy.
feel I feel your
Yeah,
pain. I feel your pain. Let's move on.
yeah. So that's why I started to shy away from the gospel tag and say, okay, let me just enter into it. You know what I mean? It didn't change much of my music because I'm not the type of artist who like swears in the music or tries to be really vulgar and just like unnecessarily explicit. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So there was not much that changed in the music. Just the tag dropped. And then in 2015, that's when I released King's Villa 1. And it did pretty well for me in the city. People started to know about me, like, okay, Asaph is doing hip hop. Asaph, there's this guy called Asaph. There's this guy called Asaph. The next year after that, 2016, I formed a hip hop group called Berg Boys, and then I released King's Villa 2. So that year, in 2016, that was when I started getting my first nominations, my first like national recognition. Because now even people in Harare will know, oh, there's a guy from Bulawayo called Asaph. He's in a group called Berg Boys, and his albums are called King's Villa. So King's Villa 2 was nominated for Best Album, and then Berg Boys was nominated for Best Group. So that I went out to Harare that year for the Zim Hip Hop Awards. It was awesome. Got to meet a lot of artists for the first time. I got to meet Kiki for the first time. Guys like Zimboy, Beefy, a lot of people in the game basically. And I didn't win for best album, but I won for best group. You know what I mean? I was pretty bummed out because I wanted to win the best album.
best
I really
album.
wanted
I
that.
know.
But I was just like, you know what, Nana, it's okay. At least we got something. So year after year, I just kept coming back. 2017, I released the album 25, and I kept releasing singles. And 2017, there's a single that we released called No Stress. It was actually a collaboration type of thing. And I started to realize that albums and projects are cool, but the things that really catch people's attention are the singles. You know what I mean? The single, one single that is a hit can do more for you than like a 15 track album. You know what I mean? So
I
I
guess
get
it's
to,
I guess it's the Zimbabwean culture of consuming music. We
yeah,
can't
yeah,
consume it in big packages. It's like, okay,
yeah,
I'm listening to Asaph's album and it's got 15 tracks. Sure, by the time I'm finished with
yeah,
15, that's
yeah.
that kind
You'll
of
be
thing. I think
exhausted.
that's
Yeah.
it's just but it's opposite when you go
The
in
stage
European
or
countries. Yeah,
anywhere
exactly.
else. Yeah.
They'll If you
Mhm.
continue bringing out singles, they'll be like, "Where's an album, dude? We really
Where's the
like to
album?
have
Yeah.
an album." So
Yeah, yeah.
it's just
So
differences.
it is what it is. So I started maybe to focus and concentrate more on singles. So that was No Stress. And then 2018, that's when I got the beat for Mambo. And we made Mambo in
Mm,
2018. And then that one just blew up. You know, it was number one on ZFM for a couple of I think even 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. It must have been
yeah,
even number one on
yeah.
ZFM for 2 months. The
Mm.
video did well. Everyone is just ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. I'm now booked, going to Harare, coming back, going to Harare, coming back. You know what I mean?
You're like the
So
man of
that
the
was
moment.
Yeah, bro. So, so, but not really. I was, but not really, because there was still the Takuras. There was still who else was like really hot those days. Enzo was also
And
coming
the
out and
Aisha,
strong in
okay,
the
yeah.
game those days, because I remember we met when doing Coke on the Beat. He was doing with um, Karen Paida, and I was doing with
Mm.
KVG, right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it's just like, okay, there's Enzo, I see him, and also Takura dropped Ngoro
Mm.
Imoto that year. So,
Mm. Mm.
it was that thing where you maybe it's because I'm coming from Bulawayo or what, I'm not sure, or people just need more convincing, but
Mm.
it was always that thing to say I would always be compared to someone. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
okay.
those that year I was being compared to Takura. They're like, Asaph
Mm.
for Takura, who's the king? Asaph for Takura. And then 2019 I released the People's Rapper, and
Mm.
tracks like The Vibe Is Correct, Good Times Anthem, you know what I mean? They were doing pretty well for me. Vibe Is Correct was pretty much a hit. Um, and then, but in that year, T Gonz was pretty hot, because that's the year that
Mm.
Kure came out. So he was
Mm.
hot. So now they would compare him and say, who's the king? Is it T Gonz or is it Asaph? Is it T Gonz or is it Asaph? You know what I mean? And
That's always
I'm
the
thinking about
question
it.
in your game.
That's always I don't know why everyone just wants to question. Like, and I'll be thinking, okay, but if I've been lasting this long and every new person you want to compare me to them,
Mm.
doesn't that kind of mean like, okay? So it was like, okay, cool. So 2020
Mm.
came, and what did we do in 2020? 2020 came, and that's when I released songs like So, Moroi, Moroi, Moroi,
Mm.
Moroi. Did that one. It did well on radio. Got onto Channel
Get the
O.
money, man. Moroi, moroi,
Yeah,
moro. I mean, you're preaching to the
that one.
choir, man.
That
You're
one.
preaching to the choir.
I feel you. I feel you. So it was pretty dope, man. And we just kept improving with the videos, with the singles, because after 2018, I really didn't want. I really hadn't planned on releasing the People's Rapper, but it was a project that I just put together because, like what you were saying, a lot of people were saying, "Where's the album? Where's the album? Where's the album?" You know what I mean? So I was just like,
Mm.
"Okay, cool. Let me just put this project together. Put some songs together that I felt were in line with the idea or the theme that I was feeling at that moment. You know what I mean? Especially with
Mm.
all the things that were happening in Zim, with the elections and everything, and protests and what. I really felt like
Mm.
People's Rapper was an ideal project for me to release, because if you look at Kings Villa 1, 2, and even 25, I'm a really concept based. I really make
Okay.
concept based albums. You know what I mean? That
Mm.
kind of are
Mm.
directed around themes and stuff like that.
Mm. I felt
So
like
so
I
but
felt like the King's Villa was there were parts in there that made me felt like you were writing this life story of yours. You know, I felt like
yeah,
there were
yeah,
issues there, pregnancy issues.
yeah,
there were your friends' issues, or even your life in
yeah,
general. I think I felt like
yeah,
you took us on a journey of whatever it is that you were doing in your
yeah,
life at that moment.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that was basically it. That was basically the idea of my music, to
Mm,
try and communicate the at that time, right? The story of a ordinary Bulawayo youth. You know what I mean?
mm,
What is he going through? What is happening? So that when they listen to my music, they can either see themselves, see what to avoid. You know what I mean? And just
mm,
relate, find inspiration from it. So just through the years and growing, it now has grown to wanting this to be a message for the whole of Zimbabwe, to say an ordinary youth, an ordinary young person in Zimbabwe, when they listen to my music, they need to find something that they can relate to, find something they can find inspiration from, so they can learn and just be better people. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that
yeah,
was just
yeah.
like the basis, the concept behind me making albums. So I
Cool, man.
kind of relaxed on making albums, because the singles were doing much better. So that's why I would release now. Let's just do a single. Let's just do a single.
Mm,
Like So,
yeah,
Aspeli
yeah,
Moya, around the Zimbabwe Lives Matter movement. Those days I
yeah.
released Aspeli
Mm.
Moya. And then December, I released Back to December. And
Back to
2021,
December. Let's
that's
go back to
yeah,
December.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Namagenga,
yeah. So
yeah.
so now that brings us here, 2021, and the things keep on growing, bro. Like, nominations keep on coming, and I guess it's based
Mm,
off of the work. But still, people will be confused, and I'm not sure still why. Maybe it's because I'm not from.
No,
You know what I mean? Maybe
no,
they're not
no,
based in Harare or
no, no,
something.
no, no.
But they'll always find
What
someone to
happened?
say, "Who's the king between who and who?"
I'll
Yeah,
tell you. I'll tell you. Okay, let me just jump in there for a minute. Okay,
yo,
back in the day, there was this huge thing. If you're not in Harare, nothing is
yeah,
happening. Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that was a very wrong misconception of things.
yeah,
Of course, Harare is larger than Bulawayo in terms of yeah, it's geographically, but it
yeah.
didn't
Even
really mean that
population.
exactly. It really didn't mean that a lot of these good things come from Harare.
Yeah,
Maybe I felt like, and I still feel like some of our youths and some of our people from Bulawayo who still feel like, okay, you know what, everything happens Harare and stuff like that.
mm,
Not necessarily. If we try and build an industry of our music within Bulawayo, and I think it might actually stick. There were days when people were dancing to Iyasa more than any
yeah,
other group in Zimbabwe.
yeah,
There were
yeah,
days when
yeah,
people were dancing to Sandra Ndebele or to or any of the other guys that
yeah,
have come before you in Bulawayo. And I
yeah,
felt like that
yeah,
was a really strong statement. What I feel was something that we didn't do was to capitalize on the fact that Bulawayo is very artsy or artistic,
yeah,
and we should
yeah,
have centered a lot of our in fact, the people in Bulawayo or the people in Zimbabwe should have said, okay, let's congregate, let's put a lot of investment in Bulawayo, and it would have
hmm
been
based
the
around
arts
arts.
hub. Exactly,
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
have been
yeah,
the
yeah,
arts
yeah.
hub in Bulawayo. But the biggest thing, sorry to just cut you, the biggest thing is the
No
mindset.
problem.
If you tell
Mm,
yourself that I'm from Bulawayo and I'm not gonna make it, or Harare
yeah,
is stealing all the light,
yeah,
then people like Shasha would have not traveled from Ntare to Bulawayo, then to South Africa, or people
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
Long John, the comedian, would have not traveled
yeah.
from Mutare again to Bulawayo and then
People
to
like
South Africa. You
Asaph
know what
would
I
have
mean?
been nominated for Whole Mama. You know what
Exactly,
I mean?
exactly,
I
exactly,
feel you.
bro.
I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's been made better by the lockdown and the inability for artists to perform to large crowds. Obviously, there are large
yeah,
crowds in Harare, but now because we
yeah,
are online, the level field
yeah,
has been leveled up. Almost everybody
yeah,
gets to
yeah.
shine. You know?
Yeah, to
Mhm.
a certain extent, to a certain extent. But I
Yeah.
do agree with you. Like, the mindset really does need to change. But just changing the mindset won't really change the whole situation. I feel like someone with their mindset that is changed. For example, a Shasha making it is not gonna fix the whole thing. Long John making it is not gonna fix the whole thing. Asaph making it is not gonna fix the whole thing. There are also institutional things and structures that kind of
Mm,
need to be decentralized to
mm,
open up and make it wider for now literally anyone, you know what I'm saying, to just walk through easily. And
mm,
it's not that there are no people in Harare who are trying their best to make it, but they are not, you know what I mean.
mm,
But I guess it's
mm,
also just of uh as an institution allowing for more representation,
mm,
and not just from
mm,
Bulawayo, even Vic
mm.
Falls,
Yeah.
even Mutare, even, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of other parts of Zimbabwe, just for them to receive recognition. And I guess that's what made the song we did with Nati O and Gemma such a hit, because
Mm,
people are longing for that diversity, that
yeah.
representation in
Mm,
the music. You know what I'm saying? Where we
yeah.
now have a Kalanga star, you know what I mean, on a track with a Shona vocalist and a
Mm,
white,
mm,
you know what I mean,
mm.
and a white
Yeah.
person, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that is, I
Um.
feel like that is what Zimbabwe needs.
Yeah. Correct. At the same time, if the same Zimbabweans want their artists to shine outside, they have to get rid of these geographical barriers. They have to get rid of
Yeah,
this uvela ngaphi. I mean, uyaphi
yeah,
wena?
yeah,
Like, do you come
yeah,
from Midlands,
yeah,
Victoria Falls, you name it? If we want Asaph to win the MTV Africa Music Awards, people's People's Awards, we have to set aside all of these differences and just look at Zimbabwean art as Zimbabwean art, you know. Zimbabwean art as Zimbabwean art. But I do agree with you. Listen, man, we have to let's move on. Let's move on because this conversation right here is touchy, feely. Yeah, you know, and I know, I have a question for you, right? I have to get this question out of the way. You were 29. You are 29, right? 29 or 30?
Yeah, 29.
At the time when Kingpin was rapping, you was only 8 years.
Yeah,
8 years.
bro.
The reason I ask this is because you're rapping and paying tribute to Kingpin, okay, in your music.
Yeah.
A lot of the youngsters nowadays, I called up this other artist the other day and I was like, okay, who's your favorite rapper? And then they were checking all of these other things. And I was like, okay, do you know of Kingpin? And I was like, who? You know, who's that? You know, they really don't know. They know maybe they're not so well versed in the talent that used to exist in ZI. How did you get to know the man, and how much has he contributed, you know, to your music as well?
From listening to the radio, bro. From hearing the songs that would play on the radio, I salute you. You know what I mean? And then going into like try and discover for myself more of his work to see, okay, what else did he do? So spend my time on YouTube. That was the best, the next best thing, because I didn't know anyone who would have the music accessible like that. You know what I mean? So on radio, that's where I'll hear a song like "Ladies and Gentlemen," introducing. You know what I
The
mean?
Kingpin, yeah.
Exactly. Lots of that's basically how I started to do my own research on who he was, because at that time, hearing him rap and hearing it sound so good and the quality was so dope, like it could really compete on the international market. You know what I mean? So for me, that kind of inspired me to say, yo, as a Zimbabwean, I can make music that is authentically Zimbabwean, but can compete on the international market. You know what I mean? Has international quality, has international standard. So that's just what imprinted on me about him. And especially I salute you because of the things he was talking about, the realities of life for black people in the world, black people in Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? So I guess I that really set an impression on me. And even when I made music, I wanted to make sure that I am someone who can inspire, I'm someone who can motivate, I'm someone who can even liberate people from toxic thought patterns and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's just what stuck out to me about him, and that's what made me want to continue in that legacy. You know, to say, you know what, there will always be someone in Zim hip hop who is representing for the people, who is rapping for truth, who is rapping for inspiration, who is rapping for freedom, basically.
Yeah, man, I feel you on that part. And when you said you are Kingpin's incarnate in one of your songs, I was like,
Yeah,
true to that, my man, true to that, because your lyrics are not just lyrics that you're throwing onto a track.
yeah,
This is well thought of. I mean, uh, it's the same feelings, like the same. You know, when you get that chicken skin because of the music.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
call it music free zones or something like that.
yeah,
The
yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
feelings that I used to get or that I get from listening to Kingpin is the same things that I get from you. And this is
I
no
appreciate
joke.
that.
This is not because I'm here with you on this interview. Listen,
Yeah,
I listen to music. When other people
yeah.
dance to music, I am listening to what you are
Listening to
talking
what is
about.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And I'll give you an example. You mentioned Sky Metro at at one time on a song of yours. I think it was album 25. And then now you got a job there. Did you
yeah.
get the job there because of the song, or what?
Not
Let's talk
even,
about that.
not even, because that line came out 2017. I only started there in 2019. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So that line was just talking about how I wanted to see more quality music, because I really felt like to a certain extent, and it's true for almost all of Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? There's this thing that if music sounds, if the quality in music is too much and is like international, we always feel like, oh, that's not authentic. You know what I mean? That's not original Zimbabwe, but something that is poorly mixed,
Yeah.
poorly
Yeah.
mastered, just because it's in vernacular, people want to praise that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, come on, guys, let's raise the standard. We won't train our artists to level up. You know what I mean? We can't take this and say
I
because we don't.
let me just jump in there. I have struggled. I have
Yeah,
struggled. I started broadcasting in 2004.
yeah,
Okay. In Bulawayo, in Gweru, Harare, in Josie a little bit. But I've
yeah,
struggled with mediocre artists, and sometimes they come up to me and they want something played or they want an
yeah,
interview, and I'm like, how really do you want me to present this stuff to the public?
yeah,
Because let me give you an artist that I would really love to not that I don't support upcoming artists. I'm just
yeah,
saying
yeah,
we have not learned the art of saying no to
yeah.
something which
And
is not
sometimes
that good in Zimbabwe.
And sometimes supporting local artists by telling them, "Bruh, this is whack. You need to step
Yeah.
up." You know what I mean? That can help them much more than saying, "Oh, it's okay. Let's just play it." You know what I mean? No, 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 no.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
that was what the line was about, to say, I need you to start filtering for quality. Basically to say, let us raise the standard and make sure that artists realize the standard that is expected, so that we can get the best out of them, get the best music coming out. That was basically what it was. And then 2019, I was reading this book by Charlemagne the God, right, called Black Privilege, and he was just talking about how he got on radio.
Mm.
So I guess I took it, I read that, got some inspiration of it. I'm someone who really loves music, not just hip hop, but music in general. So I went to the station, and yeah, I managed to land a show there. So now I've got my show.
One thing led to the other. You rapped about
Yeah,
them, and then the next thing you are working for them. Man, I thought it
yeah.
was related. I thought it was related because I
Nah,
heard
no,
that.
not really.
I heard that. So I've been simply listening to your music nonstop these days. I mean, there are lyrics that I really go, wow, that's dope. And how did
Yeah,
he write that? Uh,
yeah,
you got me on this particular track when you said life isn't straight, so how can we blame the youths for leaning?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I was like, man, how does he come up with such good lyrics? How do you come up with such good lyrics, man?
Bro, to be
Do
honest,
you do you read do you read a lot? Do you watch TV a lot? Do you have conversations a lot? I mean, just
it's
try and
it's
take
it's
us.
all of that. It's all of that. It's the reading, it's the conversations, it's the paying attention to life. You know what I mean? And then when you're listening to the beat, because you listen to the beat and you're trying to write, and you're just coming up with these things, and sometimes certain lines or certain punchlines just hit you as an idea or as a thought, and you're like, wow. You know what I mean? I won't even lie, bro. That's why there's even a Tupac line where he says, "When I write, I go blind and let the Lord do His thing." Because sometimes it feels like these things are just in the air, and then boom, it hits you. You're like, "Oh my gosh, life isn't straight. So how can we blame the youth for leaning?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it,
true,
and it, and
true.
that's that, and that's just how it is. Another way I used to write, especially during the days of Kings Villa 1 and 2, I would head over to City Hall, and I would sit on the City Hall benches, and I would literally just watch people as they are walking past, living their lives, different people with different expressions on their faces, carrying different types of things, and I would try and imagine to say, okay, I wonder what this person's story is. Where are they going? Where are they coming from? What story can I build around this person? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's basically how I would write. Just people watching, see what's going on out there in the real world, on the real streets of Bulawayo, and understand. I really want to do or spend more time in Harare. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
So that I
mhm.
can get a sense of the feel. We used to have an idea of saying, imagine you do a King's Villa Verge story, but in Harare. You know what I mean? Based off of Harare buildings and Harare street names and everything that's going on that side. That
That'll
would
be
be pretty
dope.
dope.
That'll be dope. But you will meet some very fake people. You will meet some I'm telling you, I've stayed most of my life in Harare, and
Mm.
there is a whole lot of fake people in Harare. There's a whole lot
Then
of
I'll rap
pretense.
about that.
Exactly.
yeah.
That is, I know what you're gonna be rapping about. I definitely know because it's not. It's. Have you heard this the saying? "Oh, that glitters is not gold."
It's not gold. Yeah, I've
It's
heard
not
it. I've heard
gold,
it.
man. It's not gold. I'm telling you, Bulawayo is one of the nicest, if not the nicest places in Zimbabwe. I would not hesitate. In fact, I would not hesitate staying anywhere else except Harare. You know, although
I
I've
feel
been
you. I
staying
feel
in
you.
Harare. Although, yeah, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. I would not hesitate
I hear
staying
you.
in Kumalo, High Mount, Pumula,
Yeah,
Luveve,
yeah,
Gwabalanda,
yeah,
Mutare,
yeah,
Nyanga, Norton, any of those other places except Harare. It just
yeah.
frustrates me at times. Frustrates me at times.
Nah,
But that's
I
me.
feel
That's
you,
me.
bro.
That's me. That's me.
I feel you. I feel you.
Lines like two Shona for Ndebele and two Ndebele for Shonas.
Yeah,
I felt like that was really, really deep. You say that in a very short statement, but
yeah.
it feels like it's something that you most probably meet with in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. I mean, because for me, I am Shona, right? Born in Zimbabwe,
Mm,
born in Bulawayo, right? So here, or especially like growing up in high school and stuff, I would visit my friend. I had a really close friend who used to stay in Luveve, right? So when I would go and visit out there, his mom, his friends, everyone would just be making those jokes about Shonas, you know what I mean? Ah, Shona le tu, you know what I mean? All those things. Um, and it was cool. It was whatever. And then I'd go to Harare, and then everyone is talking to me in Ndebele. Everyone is trying to get me to be Ndebele. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I was like, do these people know that I'm actually Shona? You know what I'm saying? So it's like there was actually a long time where people would want to feature me. Artists from Harare would want to feature me, and they would really stress to say, or I would send them back a verse. And then they'll say, "Oh, I thought you're gonna rap in Ndebele. Ish, I really thought you're gonna rap in Ndebele." So I
uh,
mean, and when so it's kind of that dual place to
mm,
live where you don't really feel like you
mm,
belong anywhere. Because even here, I feel like to a certain extent, right? No matter how high I take this, I'm not really representing the people of Bulawayo, if you get what I mean. You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
To a certain extent, the way someone like Calvin would, or the way Mrs. K would, you know what I mean? There's a certain
mm,
attachment that they would have to Mrs. K or Calvin that for me might not really be there. You see what I'm saying? So, and if I go to Harare, I won't really be embraced as someone from there because I'm not from there.
mm.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just that dual space to exist in, which is cool because I also think it kind of makes me stand out.
Do you feel like it sort of you know diminishes the work that you're trying to do, which is the love for being a Zimbabwean? 100%. I
Not
mean,
diminishes, not really diminishes. Um, I feel like maybe I just need to be more charismatic about it. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because who better than me, since I am in that kind of both worlds. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mm,
I'm kind of in
mm,
those two where I can if we get to a certain level, I can be in Harare and get the benefits of being there, and I can come here and try and get the benefits of being here. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Well,
mm,
basically, well, let me give you this example in this way. I have that because I'm from Bulawayo, because I'm from this part of the country. There is that southern influence of the music, the bounce, the kwaito, the slang, the lingo.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
Which is unique, which is authentic, which is exportable, right?
mm.
And because and this is gonna sound weird. I'm not sure how it will come out, but because I'm Shona,
Be as
I can
weird as you
I can
want to be, bruh.
yeah, because I'm Shona, I can now also get a lot of passes. You see what I'm saying?
Mm,
Get a lot
okay,
of passes when I'm doing certain things that help me now make this sound national. You see, or
okay.
make this sound crazy. You know what I mean? So I don't. I hope you got what I meant. That's that's
I
that's the sorry. Yeah,
I
that's the
I
advantage I
I
think that I had.
I do, man. I do. I mean, you are. you are taking from the influences of being born in Bulawayo, the kwaito, the hipness, or the joys that you get from Bulawayo, and you're also you will also eventually, and I know it's been working out right now. It's working out to your advantage when when you are Shona amongst Shonas. But I tell you
Yeah.
what, something for free. That's a whole lot of bullshit. It shouldn't be happening in a
Like that. Yeah.
country. Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be in a way made to feel any less because you are amongst Shonas and maybe you're speaking in Debele, or you're amongst Debeles and you're speaking in Shona. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. And I feel like
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
said you are in the middle, I feel like you might be the right person. And I hope, not that I feel like, I know you are because it's written in your lyrics. You are the right person to
Yeah.
address some of these irregularities or some of
Touchy issues.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's these touchy issues. Like for example, uh, I have relatives in Bulawayo, right? I've worked in
Yeah.
Bulawayo. I've lived in Bulawayo. I visit Bulawayo as much as I can.
Yeah.
Uh, I my Ndebele is maybe 50%, 60%, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love to express myself in Ndebele. Like when I'm here
Yeah.
in South Africa, it's easy for me
Yeah.
to speak to a Zulu person because I have a little bit of that
They'll
Ndebele,
understand it. Yeah. Yeah.
understanding. Yeah. So I embrace that. I love that. My mom's family is Ndebele.
Yeah.
My dad is Shona, but I was born and raised in Harare, and then I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
Bulawayo at a later stage. And it
Yeah.
always pains me every time when you're having a conversation, especially in Harare, when you're having this conversation and somebody says to you, I've never been to Bulawayo. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then there's a little bit of taunting or kuchinyira kwa wanoita, like Ndebele
Yeah.
people staying in Harare, like if you're
Yeah. Yeah.
in the ghettos, they'll be like,
Yeah.
Ndebele lo, Ndebele, and they'll
Yeah.
try
Yeah. Yeah.
and they'll be making fun of the language, and I'm like, hey, stop it.
Yeah.
My mom is Ndebele.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I feel like you are the right person to actually address, and there are a lot of issues which I know that Ndebele people have in their hearts. They have it in deep down in their hearts about
Yeah.
Shona people,
Yeah.
and I know there are things that Shona people have about Ndebeles. But there's got to be
Yeah.
somebody who starts speaking about it, and I think it's you.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Like what I was saying, I hope I get that courage and to get a bit more charismatic with the message. Because I'm also someone who doesn't want to be offensive and be out there making people upset. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just praying for wisdom, praying for discernment, so that I know how to navigate. But that's the whole point of songs like so. That's the whole point of songs like or lines like the ones that you just mentioned. You know what I mean? It's just trying to push those conversations and bring those issues to light.
Like, I want to give you a chance to probably drink a little bit of water as we play one of your recent collaborations with Gemma and with Ability Extension, Natty O. How was this
Yeah,
working
yeah.
with these? How was it working with these two?
It was pretty cool, bro. It was our first time meeting in person, but it was like we'd been friends for the longest time. So I think we hung out for like, because the shoot took 2 days. So those 2 days we're hanging out together, you know what I mean? And it was just pure vibes, pure energy.
Oh, wow. Okay, so grab yourself a water and then we'll be back on the last part of this interview straight after this song, my man. Thanks a lot. We're hanging
Sure,
out with
bro.
Asaph. I'm hanging out with Asaph right here. And we're just going to be listening to Gemma, Nachi O, and Asaph on the track 263. Call me. Leave your comments below this video if you're liking the conversation and you've got any questions whatsoever for Asaph. And of course, I'm hanging out with Asaph today, and we're talking about all things his music, his Mama nominations, his award winning endeavors, and of course, yeah, man. It's been I've been trying to get you to just chill and hang out with me and just talk about music
Yeah.
for the longest, but I think you are busy. You are a busy man. Not that I think you are. I know you are a busy man. You seem to be very, very busy. You're putting albums since then. Now you're presenting a radio show, writing lyrics on other collaborations. I mean, it's different. This is what people don't get, right? You have
Yeah.
to write stuff for yourself, and then
Yeah.
Gemma calls you up and she wants a verse
Yeah.
on a song. You have to write
Yeah.
for that as well, and you have family.
Yeah.
God knows what else you do in your past life. You're
A
hustling.
girlfriend who needs attention.
You see, how does one get time even for anything else? I mean, how is your day like? I mean, you must be bombarded with a lot of things to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about knowing what time you're doing what. Anything can be planned for. You can make time for anything as long as you plan. That's what I think. So I hardly do things like if someone says, "Oh, let's do it now. Are you able now or in 10 minutes?" I say, "Oh, you might. Let's try tomorrow." You know what I mean? So when I know that, I've said, "Okay, it's one until this time. Yeah, we can do that. One, yeah." So that's basically how it is.
That's cool, man. That's cool, man. I struggle with time. I struggle with my own time. I struggle with keeping myself focused on one simple little thing. So now I tend to write things in bold in my room, and it's
Yeah,
right there. I have to see it to believe it. I'm like, okay, now I need
I
to do
feel.
this
I know I
because
need to do this. I feel.
if you do just get a lot of things working or have a lot of things happening in your life, you might just miss
Yeah,
one or two other things to do.
yeah.
Um, so this is my own prediction or my own assumption onto from the music that you have released so far. It's either
Yeah.
you own a Corolla or an Alteza. Or
Mm.
these cars are always popping up in your lyrics. What's the relationship
Yeah,
between you
bro.
and cars,
I
man?
mean, with the Alteza, that was especially those days of Kings Villa. That was like the car to buy. That was like the hustler's car. You know what I mean? All the young guys who were doing their deals and making a bit of money whenever they get a first car. That is affordable, but still looks good. Still can be pimped out. They'll get an Alteza. You know what I mean? So that was just basically where that was coming from.
And the Corolla.
Corolla, I mean, I guess it's the same. You could say it was the same thing. Yeah, you could say it came from the same type of situation because a lot of people I knew had Corollas, Toyota
Oh,
Corollas.
okay. Man, let's get into these three questions that I love to ask almost each and every artist that I interview
Mm.
pertaining to your genre, which is rap or
Mm.
hip hop. Who is your favorite rapper of all time?
My favorite rapper of all time, I'd have to say Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh, man. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. All right. Jay-Z doesn't cut it? Man.
Nah, he's dope, but like Kendrick is too much, bro. Like the whole storytelling thing, I got it from like after listening to Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City. That album
Mm,
really a lot, a lot.
Mad City is a dope album. Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give you that. I mean, it's very hard to distinguish.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always have these conversations the whole day when you say when you throw in
Mm.
Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Nas, Tupac,
Yeah.
B.I.G. I mean,
Yep.
it never
Yeah.
ends. Favorite rapper in
Yeah.
Africa? In Africa, who's your favorite rapper?
Favorite rapper in Africa. Hmm. That one is tricky because I like in Africa, right? I would have to
Mm.
say there are different guys who have stood out to me for different reasons. So I would say Stogie T from SA used to be Tumi and the Volume, Stogie
Yeah,
T,
yeah.
and then AKA not necessarily because of the lyrical what, but the music, the ability to make music. You know what I mean? I really love his sound. I'm really inspired by the sounds that he makes, especially when he makes this hip hop kwaito hybrid fusion. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
love that sound. So yeah,
Okay.
that's those two. I would say those two.
And now to the big one, your favorite rapper in Zimbabwe.
My favorite rapper in Zim. I think for now I'd also have to have two. I really love R Pills. I think R Pills can really rap. I love his delivery. He's yeah. I really enjoy listening to him rapping. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I'll stick with R Pills. I'll stick with R Pills.
Appeals. Okay. Man, you
Yeah.
are a one-man band. I mean, you're just going with the man. Where are the females in this list? I thought you were
I
gonna mention.
mean,
Yeah, I know, I know. It's all right. It's all right,
yeah, yeah,
man. So I listened to you and your conversation with Jakim Kido,
yeah,
talking about your relationship with God. You know, you pray every morning with your family and you sing
yeah.
about it as well. I mean, what's your favorite verse in the Bible, man?
My favorite verse would be Proverbs 1 verse 7. The fear of the
Mm,
Lord is the beginning of wisdom, but fools
mm.
despise knowledge and discipline. Something like
Oh wow. Cool, man. That's really dope. That's that's a
that.
really cool. That's a really good verse. And you also say the Lord breathes in the songs you make.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really want to believe that everything I write is coming with a purpose, you know what I mean? And you know, there's that thing, there's a scripture that says, the word of the Lord will not return void. So I really want everything I say, when people hear it, it doesn't just go in one ear and come out the other. I really hope that this is music that can inspire people, that this is music that can change someone's life, that this is music that can inspire and lift up people. So I cannot do that in my own power. I really have to
Mm,
do that once God has blessed everything that I'm doing, all the songs I'm making. You know what I mean?
mm. I felt
Yeah,
like there were songs in your there were songs that you were pouring out your heart. I mean, after the devastating loss of Calvin, the rapper.
yeah,
How close were
yeah.
you with the man?
Yeah, we're pretty close, bro. No lie. We even did gospel hip hop together. That's how far back we go. Like 2012, I was a I was in what? How can I put it? I was a youth pastor, but not officially. You know what I mean? I was just
Okay.
coordinating the youth meetings at church. So I even one of the first shows that Calvin did when he came from South Africa doing gospel was at my youth group. I invited him over, said, "Yo, please come and perform for the youth group." He came, he did it. Uh, yeah, basically, we go way back. We were kind of
Is
like
it?
brothers. You know what I mean?
Wow, wow. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard it first. Asaph was this close to becoming a youth pastor. We could have lost him into the world of hip hop, but he still stays strong. But anyway, I mean, we appreciate all the work that you've done so far.
Yeah,
Do you feel like you were snubbed of an award at Zimmer 2020? I mean, I saw you perform dressed in all black, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
DJ
yeah,
Stavo straight after that tweeted, after you lost out to Takura. Do you feel
yeah.
like these People's Choice Awards from the Mamas could be the dividing moment, to have everyone who ever doubted you realize how much of a strong
To be
input you are
convinced.
in Zim hip
Um,
hop?
to a certain extent, I feel I was. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, I feel I was, but it's just that thing. It's a numbers game, I guess. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? So
Mm,
people will certify those who they know. You know what I mean? Basically, people
mm,
will certify those who they know. But in terms of the work, I feel like I did deserve something, some type of recognition from that night.
mm,
So,
mm,
and to say that the Mamas is going to be the defining moment, it could be. It really could be. It was BET was the defining moment for Shasha. She went
yeah.
from you know what I mean, from like level one
Mm.
to boom, 100, you know what I'm saying?
You're
So
100, 0 to 100,
it could,
very fast.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's gonna be so interesting. But we'll just wait and see.
If you were to change anything in the way awards are awarded in Zimbabwe, what would it be?
Hmm. I would change this mentality of like making it seem as if nominees are not winners. You know what I mean? Because being nominated means you are four of the best in this particular category. You know what I'm saying? And when some people quote unquote lose awards, they kind of get so much flagged. You know what I mean? More flagged than people who have not even been nominated to begin with. I guess that would be the first thing that I would want to fix, so that people can really, yeah. I would give something for nominees as well, some type of prize, some type of something to show them that you guys are four of the best in this genre. You know what I mean? And not make it feel like there's one winner and the rest of you are losers. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you. There's a lot of belittling that goes towards nominees as if they didn't do anything.
Mm.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
nominated. You are there for a reason,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's got to be one. There's got to be one. Um, there's got to be one
Winner.
winner. All right.
Yeah.
This moment, let me just thank everybody else who's joining us on Facebook. Guys, thank you very much for coming through on the live. Lost on Storo, Buzisiwe Twango, Carol Magenga. Can you believe it? Carol Magenga actually wants your number. I'll tell you the reason why she wants it off air. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not
Okay.
that. It's not that. She's a very important person.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Linda Magasu, thank you very much for being part of the show. Leander Candiero, Mr. Lee, okay, the captain himself. Thank you very much for coming through. Brian Chicato, thank you as well for being part of the show. I got a couple of quick questions for you, Asaph, before I leave you to run your day.
Yeah.
What's your relationship? Okay, so quote unquote relationship with Tammy, because there's a whole lot of references in some of your music. Tell me more. Just a quick one, and then we go.
Well,
Are you guys
as of
friends?
now, not as of now, there is no relationship. We're just artists. There was a time though, yes, I did have a crush on her. I won't lie. There was that time where um I I I I was inspired by her music, inspired by her brand and everything. I was really looking forward to making music with her. So I guess all of that added just my uh, idea of being the rapper with the heaviest vocalist. You know what I'm saying? That whole
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So, and that was like what 20? That was like 2018,
yeah.
2019. So this is
It's
like
been
2 years
some time
later.
now. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
nah, I guess it was a phase. I guess it was a
Okay.
phase.
All right. So, what's your next move?
My next move right now, I'm working on a project that I want to release. It's going to be called Bond Note Dreams. It's going to have 6 tracks on it, and I'm excited for people to hear it. That's the thing that's on my mind right now.
So, you are busy in the studio trying to make something out of that. Okay. Cool.
For now, I'm still at home writing. I'll probably be in
Mm,
studio next week. From next week,
mm.
that's when I'll be in the studio. Yeah.
What's your show at Sky Metro all about?
It's called Good Time Fridays, and it's on a Friday evening. It's basically about, letting people unwind from the stresses of the week so that they can have a good time, jumpstart them into the weekend. So I'll play music like house, piano, Afro beats, and then I also have a segment called 16 Bars where I dedicate it to playing the best music, hip hop music that is coming out of the city.
Mm.
So that's what my show is about.
What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink, yo, I'd have to say
It's got
it's
to be
Mahewu.
alcoholic. No, it's got to be
Ingwebu.
alcoholic.
I'm saying Ingwebu Mahewu here, bro. The banana
Oh,
flavor.
okay.
I
Okay.
love I love that. I love that. If it was alcohol, what? I guess there's a Castle Light for beers. There's for
Mm,
whiskey, Pog's whiskey. I like Pog's whiskey. I think it tastes really good.
mm. Okay. Okay. So yeah, man, thanks a lot for all of this. I mean, I wish you all the best. And people are
Thank
still
you,
voting,
brother.
right? For the mamas. They're still voting as much as I can.
Yes, the links are all still up. Everything is still working. So I guess it's a blessing in disguise. We can get as more and more votes in. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm. What was going to happen? Because that was something that was in my mind when you were rallying us up to to vote for you, and we did that. But my mind was thinking, is this show going to happen live? Was it going to be a virtual show?
It
Or was
was
going to happen
virtual. It
virtual?
was
Huh?
going to be a virtual show. Yeah, it was going to be a
Hmm.
virtual show. Mm.
Hmm. And it takes us to this question, this odd question that we now have to throw in all the interviews that we have to do, man. Like
Yeah,
the learning, what is it that you've learned during the COVID-19? I mean, there's a whole lot of things that happened. In fact, the biggest thing that happened for artists was the inability to perform, which you didn't
yeah,
like, but you learned
yeah.
something and you picked up one or two things that you're most probably going to move with, even if the country is open up and a whole lot of things can be done. That what is that one thing?
Yeah. Um, Work and store work. You know what I mean? Work enough for 6 months so that even like if I don't have to, if I can't release anything, or if I can't work on anything new, if I can't shoot any new videos, I still have 4 or 5 videos that we shot in 1 month, 4 or 5 videos that we
Okay.
shot in a week that we can just now let fly. You know what I mean? And then the
Mhm.
second one is the internet is the world. The internet is the world. You know what I mean? You don't have
Yeah.
to limit yourself anymore. Get online. The world is watching, basically.
Yeah. And you are one of those people that will tweet good night.
Yeah,
You will
bro. I'll
literally
tweet good night.
good
I say I'm
night.
going to sleep now. I'm going to bed now. Twitter is my favorite social network. I won't lie.
Okay. Okay. We see that. We see that. We see that to the extent, it's easy. Like you don't have to sometimes,
Yeah,
because Instagram has that demand for good quality pictures. You're not
yeah,
just going to be
yeah, yeah,
posting a whole lot of
yeah, yeah.
bad stuff.
Of
But with
stuff.
Twitter,
Yeah,
you can, yeah, with Twitter, you can get away with a text
you
and,
can tweet
to us.
hi.
You can, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. What do you think? Lastly, what do you think about our Kiwi?
She's dope, bro. I really think she's very talented. I really think she's unique. She's got an interesting brand. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm glad that people are finally catching on to her wave and like really making noise about her. And I feel like if
Mhm.
she continues on this path, she'll be one of the greatest women in Zim hip hop.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna lead out with a song of yours, which is Mambo.
Say it don't
Uh,
sound like the city
I
dog.
wanna, I wanna, I wanna just stop it there for a moment and talk about this song before we go. This is a song that
Yeah.
literally, I don't know if there's a song that made you, it was this song, right? Okay, I know.
Depends on who you're asking.
Okay, the rest of the world, us
Yeah, yeah,
included, because yeah, we caught up
yeah.
to the wave very late. We caught up to
On Mambo.
the
Yeah,
wave
I
very
hear you.
late.
Mm.
That's been the challenge in Zimbabwe. And for me, I've always asked myself, why do these things always catch? Why do I always catch them late? Because I've always wanted to, to back in the day, we used to have grammar, we used to have ZMC, they would deliver to
Yeah,
you new music, you
yeah,
understand? But
yeah,
now
yeah,
Asaph can have his own music and have his own distribution method, which might not
yeah.
get to me.
It's
By the
everyone. Yeah,
time, yes, by the time he's blowing up, everybody is like, that's his fourth album. And I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, man. So
Yeah,
that's the thing. But we caught up late. I caught up late, and I apologize. Come on, guy. I
nah, no
apologize.
pressure, no pressure,
I caught
no
up late. But
pressure.
Mambo was like, is what was like the inspiration behind this song before we played, and I let you go.
It was just also built off of really just wanting to make my mark, basically. Really just wanting to affirm myself. Really just wanting to, um, yeah, just affirm myself and say Ndini Mambo and come out and
Mm,
just be
mm,
unashamed, radical, strong, and
mm,
yeah, nothing was the same.
mm.
Nothing was the same.
Is there any beef between you and rappers like Takura or Holy Ten in terms of who's the king? Because I know, I watch a lot of. Let me give you a little bit of context. I watch a lot
Mm.
of basketball because I play basketball. I'm a basketball player. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
I watch a whole lot of NBA. So they call LeBron James the king. Okay.
Yeah.
And he calls himself the king.
Yeah.
But I could argue and say there are quite a large number of other players
Yeah.
good as him or better than him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But I don't have a dispute when it comes to Michael Jordan. I know he is the king of NBA, of basketball.
Yeah.
So me asking you as an artist, it's really, really weird because you're not a fan. I'm a fan of basketball. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's different asking Michael Jordan, who do you think is better than you? Okay, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I want you to be like as candid as you can be. I mean, what do you think of all the other rappers and is it right for us to call you the king of hip hop or rap in Zimbabwe right now?
The thing with genres like hip hop, right, or music, I feel like it depends on what angle we're looking at. Because you see, there are things that I can do that Takura can't do. There are things that I can do that Holy Ten can't do. And there are things that both of them can do that I cannot do. You know what I'm saying? So it would really be up to who you're asking. It would really be up to who is listening and what they are listening for. You know what I mean? I feel, for me personally, I feel I'm one of the most diverse hip hop artists in Zim. You know what I mean? I can be on a track with Amara. I can be on a track with Gemma and Nati O. I can be on a track with DJ Stavo. I can be on a track with Kruger and T Gons, you know what I mean? And still fit, even if it's not a hip hop beat, even if it's not what, you know what I mean? And I'll be rapping. I don't think there's many artists, hip hop artists, who can do that. You see what I'm saying? I think I'm one of the only artists at this level that we're talking about, the Takuras, the Holy Tens, the what, that can make diverse sounds, even in terms of this whole Kwaito influence bounce. These other guys can't do that. You know what I mean? They can't make an Aspeli Moya. They can't make a, what you call this, a Good Times anthem, Vibe is Correct, Back to December. I can do that. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on who you're asking. It depends on what you're looking for. So I can be a king. He's a king too. You know what I mean? He's not a whack artist. They are not whack artists. They are good. But it now just goes down to what are we talking about? Okay, his aggression level is level 10. He's even if we look at the Kobe's and them, I'm sure they have stats to say that, okay, his speed is this, his dribbling, his handling is that, his what is that. So it depends. Yeah.
All right, man. You answered that quite well. So quite well, you know. Not trying to stir up anything, but I was just trying to find out where you stand in terms of, you know, this whole kingship. Because I feel like every rapper calls them, even the wackest rappers. Let me use the word that you just used. The wackest rappers who get up on a track and say, "I'm the king."
I'm the king. I feel you.
Yeah,
but I am the best though. I am the best. That's what they cannot, and all of them know it. I might not be, you can ask any one of them, they'll tell you, Asaph is the best.
I'll give it to you, my man. I'll give it to you. I love your music. Thank you very much for coming out and hanging out with me, man. Listen, we're gonna play Ndini Mambo and let's see.
Yeah, the city don't sound like the city dog.
Sure, bro.
I will see you when you get that award from Mama. Okay?
Definitely. Thank you,
and
my
we'll be having another conversation on the flip side and just getting an understanding on how it all feels. All right?
Yeah, definitely, bro. Shout out.
Right, thanks a lot, Asaph.
Hey, from North End. Why do I always gotta prove things? I gotta flex to show him that I'm the best. Now I know he's seeing me as a threat. Shade of greasy, I represent to the dead. You know it's getting harder to hate, but one song leave the city amazed. I'm now embracing the pain. Some was even terrified of my age until the Lord showed me I could be king, and it's a movie now.
Tejaira kusimukira peko penyoka choni simutira meso asikuti makanganya matikwane kandanga dini
Andini mo sempono, andini mo sempono, andini mo sempono, andini mo sempono.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The people's rapper, Asaph, real name Tafadwa Tarukwana, MTV Africa Music Awards representative for the Listeners' Choice Awards 2020. They have been slightly delayed, but he's still in there. You have to go and vote for him. He is the kingpin incarnate in court, and he says that himself, and I believe so. Mfano Kulumiskiwa. Mr. Asaph was hanging out with us right here on the Joe Mars podcast. Thank you very much for all the love. Thank you very much for all the comments. Keep spreading the word. Keep spreading the word. We are right here. We are here to stay. Of course, we'll be bringing you more content in the days to come as well. Do check out our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube as well. This video will be available on YouTube soon enough. And of course, go through our social media. You will find our website, our week's website, that is the Joe Mars podcast. Until we meet again, bye, and God bless you.